What's up, senior home business family? We got Drew Matt in the house, and we're just celebrating, man. We're celebrating all kinds of good things. If you like what we got going on this channel, we would appreciate you subscribing to the channel, clicking the notification bell, all that good stuff. We just try to bring you as much information as possible about senior living, and probably more specifically the senior placement business, and that's what we're going to talk about today with Tour Senior Living. That's what we do on Thursdays. So if you are here, drop a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you want to know more information, you know all the links are down below. So I ain't got to tell you all that stuff. But let's get with it, Drew. We're going to talk today about, that's why these people came today, talking about the 5 senior living stats families need to know before it's too late. And we're going to go through 5 of these today. And some of these stats are going to be more apropos for someone looking for senior living themselves. And there's a couple of them that's going to be targeting senior placement agents out there as franchisees, that you need to know these percentages. You need to know these stats. And if you don't, man, you're going to know today. And we would just really appreciate you being with us today. These are probably not something you can Google, Drew. I don't know if you can Google these or not. These are actually really clear-cut percentages. So I think the audience is really going to enjoy this kind of thing. But 5 senior stats.
These are stats about families' behaviors and how they choose and how they move into senior living. So super relevant if you're a senior placement agent out there to understand families' behavior so you can better serve them.
Absolutely. And if you'll know more about Tour Senior Living, we're going to be talking about today proprietary software that we've got partners throughout the country. If you want to know if your territory is available, man, you need to click the link down below and schedule a consultation call, because those territories are evaporating. And once they are, they're gone, because we're only allowing 1 senior placement agent per territory. And we're starting to get the interest now, Drew, of franchises that are out there that are, you know, inquiring about what we're doing, the coaching, the TSL, the technology, and all that good stuff. So let's get into the first one. 75% of families visit only 1 or 2 communities before deciding. This really blows me away, that a family is looking for their loved ones, whether it be assisted living, memory care, something like that, and they only consider 1 or 2 communities. And I think partly that's partly due to the fact that maybe they're working with a senior placement agent and they're only showing them 1 or 2. Maybe they're in skilled nursing and the social worker is only referring 1 or 2, or they just go on Google and they just click the first thing they see. They go by and they walk through the community, and it's a great presentation, because I'm telling you, there's some fantastic marketing directors out there with senior living communities that I really appreciate. Some are brand new, just like I was back in the day. We all got to start somewhere, but there's some that are real seasoned, and man, if you go walk through their community, it's a showtime kind of deal in terms of all what they offer. And you might think, okay, this is the place I need to be, or my mom needs to be. And you might get pitched this one thing. This gets pitched quite a bit. We used to do it in the community I used to work for, is we only have 1 apartment available, or we only got a couple available, but the one you're looking at is the one on the side over there overlooking the lake, overlooking the fountain, overlooking the barbecue area, whatever it may be, and we only have 1 of those available. I would encourage you guys to look, not, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that, and not kill yourself over it. But this is where TSL comes into play, right? I mean, you can actually see all the communities.
Yeah, because what I take away from this statistic is just how much energy it takes to go and assess a community, right? You got to get in the car. You have to, get all of your other family members potentially to meet you at the same place at the same time, so you can kind of all see have the same experience of a tour. And so I don't take away from that like, oh, most people find the perfect community on the first or second try.
Yeah.
I think most people give up after 1 or 2 because it takes so much energy. And so that was part of the thought process of TSL, is what if there was a way for a family to assess more than 2 communities together Even if the sister or brother lives halfway across the country, if you could all kind of go onto this website, look at communities together, find ones you like, and then kind of decide where you want to do an in-person tour.
Definitely, because when they do one or two, they're kind of what I call faith buying, right? It's a hope and a prayer, man. It's just rather than informed browsing like Drew's doing right now, clicking on care needs, jumping onto a community, being able to call. In this case, myself, this is my territory. It could be another partner's location. You can email them, call them, or you can contact the community directly. But you'll get all the information that you need right here. And it doesn't mean you don't want to go tour eventually. But I'm telling you, it just will help out a family that's searching, because on Google, you can't pull this information up. You just really can't. I mean, you might be encountering 4 or 5 ads at the beginning, and then you'll look down and click a few. But as we talked about at nausea on this channel, all these senior living communities, they're not all the same. I know people think that, but they're not. And Tour Senior Living really provides an opportunity for families, because there's a lot of missed opportunities with better fitting environments, right? There's a lot of missed opportunities. So Drew, speak to that if you would, about how TSL just enables families to lock in on the right opportunity for their loved one.
Yeah, well, it really, I think the real power is in filtering by your care needs, right? Because this is something you can't get on a Google search. If your loved one needs insulin support, you need the ability to kind of quickly filter down from the potentially hundreds of communities in your area down to the few that can actually provide that care need. And that's what we're trying to provide here, is a tool for families who are in that research phase to help them quickly narrow down to the communities that are a good fit for their loved one. And we do that through the care need filters. And then they can look at photos, videos, 3D tours, and start to see the communities that they could really fall in love with. And then eventually go in for an in-person tour to get the sounds and the smells. Those are very important considerations in the decision process, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I want to get into this next one, Drew, because this next one really relates to senior placement agents and franchisees that are out there. This might blow you guys away, because I know we're more into the concierge service, hold your hand through the process. And I get all that. It's the way my own business was established back in 2018. Started doing a lot more online. And then now with TSL, we've incorporated this into our virtual tours, and we got a marketing director out and about getting communities signed up. But if people don't know, 48%, this was mind boggling to me, but 48% of decision makers research senior living options on their own. Do you realize that? So if you're a senior placement agent out there, a franchisee, you're missing 48% of the market that you possibly could tap into unless you had something like TSL. Because if you're just like, well, I don't believe in this technology thing, I don't want to buy into it, I just want to do it the old school, man. I just want to do it the 2015 model and just keep, resurrecting that old model into today, 2025. And you're going to miss out a lot of the people that are searching for senior living. Isn't that right, Drew?
Yeah, 100%. I'm surprised the statistic is not higher, because you think about, by analogy, the real estate industry, what percentage of home buyers research homes on their own?
Oh,
I would guess it's probably in the 90s,
yeah,
90%, right around there. Like, who
absolutely.
just calls up the real estate agent and is like, yeah, I was thinking about getting a home. What's out there?
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
happen anymore.
That's right. And because of this, I mean, they really fall into the SEO optimized but incomplete listings. And that's where TSL comes into play, because if it is 48%, which it is, and if it could be higher, it could be increasing. It might have been 35 last year before, and it's just steadily on the increase because of technology and because people during COVID started working out of their house and just got more accustomed to doing things on their own. And so, but man, they kind of fall into this SEO optimized but incomplete listings. Like, they just search on Google or go onto national websites, national company websites that are out there, and they just kind of get locked into these listings. And, let me encourage you again on this channel for about the 100th time. If you are looking for senior living, do not go online and just put all your information online, because if you do that, all these communities are just going to call that one number, and you don't like telemarketing calls. I know I don't like telemarketing calls. Drew, I know you don't. No one does, but that's all they're going to get. But the bottom line is, when they do their online search, it's a limited resource, because they're not getting all the communities. They're getting incomplete information about the communities. And then
Sometimes false information, by the way.
yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
like purposefully false information to get you in as a lead and then break the news to you later. So
true.
it's a frustrating experience for families.
Yeah, and especially if you get on their website. I mean, I think a lot of these communities have very similar websites that I think they kind of mirror each other. And again, they're putting their best foot forward. I appreciate all that. But to your point about the incomplete information, they might just put a whole lot of stuff up there, but without the necessary research and due diligence, you might end up encountering a community that doesn't really provide all those different things. And it's very important to your loved one. I mean, your mom or dad, you want them to be in a community that the services that they promoted, they are providing. Because if it's one thing to promote, there's a lot of people that are promoting a lot of things out there, and you just need to verify that information. And TSL is just a wonderful tool and mechanism to be able to verify that information.
Yeah, 100%. I remember I was just going on Google to search for assisted living just to see what pops up. And I got some assisted living facilities. I didn't get all of them in the area. Some of them don't even show up. But then I was getting like home care agencies, hospice agencies,
Right.
home health. And now I kind of have to like filter. Wait, that's, you have to be pretty knowledgeable as a family member to filter through that and sort to get to what you're actually looking for.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to your point, because there's a lot of people, including myself, like when I was listing my business, my placement agency back in 2018, I put under assisted living facility because there was very few options that would be relatable. And so to your point with that, if you're looking for assisted living, you might get a plethora of, a lot of communities that are assisted living or senior placement agents like myself. You might get home care, home health, and you might get just a variety of different communities and companies that are out there that serve the senior community. So you don't know at that point. So let's get number 3, Drew. This blows me away too, but 83% of families start without a single provider in mind. And I mean, what we're talking about here is, not so much having like ABC community down the street, and that's the ideal perfect community that we're all going to compare to. But it's like you have the typical family has no prototype to compare to. Like they're just going into this blind. They're going into this, hoping and praying, man. I'm just going to, throw some stuff on the wall, and some stuff's going to stick and some's not. And I'm just going to, do the best I can, which, I mean, that is great, but it's not optimal. You really need to figure out exactly what your mom or dad needs. And the beautiful thing about TSL is when the care needs pop up, that will pinpoint exactly the communities that your mom or dad needs.
100%. And you also have the ability to talk to a senior placement agent. So just have someone to talk to, because sometimes you don't even have the right words to be able to perform a good search. So there's always that option to talk to like a concierge senior placement agent, a local expert who knows your area and lives in your area. And so that they can interpret your kind of words into the actual care needs, help you to a good search there. But this is the crazy thing about this problem that senior placement agents solve is it's a 6-figure decision for a family. I mean,
Absolutely.
How many 6-figure decisions do you make in your life? Maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And then people go into it not having experienced it or thought about it even hardly at all. Like, if you're buying you think about buying a house as a 6-figure decision. You've probably been thinking about that since you were, I don't know, 10, 12 years old. I'm going to buy a house someday. But this hits people out of nowhere, and it's very complex. There's very little information out there. And often times they have to make a decision in a very short time frame. It's like a very unique, challenging problem, and that's why senior placement agents are so critical to the process to help families through that, because it's can be very information overload, no clear guidance.
Yeah.
It's very challenging.
Yeah, I love the time frame thing you're talking about because some families are afforded the opportunity to think about, okay, mom's slipping a little bit, so let me, think 6 months, 12 months down the road, and that's a different scenario. But to your point, when you get someone that slips, falls, goes to the hospital, breaks, fractures their hip or whatever it may be, and they go to skilled nursing, and then 6, 12 weeks later, they are being launched into assisted living, your time frame just got shorter and shorter because you're probably thinking at that point, that juncture, that mom went to the hospital. Okay, now she's going to skilled nursing. She's going to rehab. She's going to get 100% better, go back home. Sometimes that's the case, and it may not be 100%, but she can still go back home. But there's plenty of examples of people that just could not go back home because it could not be cared for, and they need to go into assisted living. And so what the families do is they start getting as much information possible, and in that shorter the time frame, you cannot process all that information in a short period of time. I don't really care how smart you are. Maybe you know about the industry and you're an exception to the rule, but if you're the average person like me before I got into the industry years ago, I wouldn't know anything, man. I would just be like, okay, let's just go check them out. Okay. And I would just be leaning on maybe 2 or 3 people that would give me information. I probably still would do my own analysis. My real estate appraiser days back when I'm in my 20s, Drew probably would come out and get some 3 comparables, things like that. But it's still information overload with no guidance. And it's easily guided toward whoever has the strongest pitch rather, or referral deal. And what we mean by that is you go, say, 2 or 3 different places you got referred to, and you encounter a great marketing director, or maybe it's even a regional that's visiting the community and they're doing some tours. I noticed one regional, she's no longer a regional now of the company I used to work for, but a different one, and she oversees multiple different communities. I'll give you a shout out, Casey. Her name is Casey. She's phenomenal. And I'm telling you, if you walked in the community with her, boy, you would greatly be impressed. But it's not so much being impressed with Casey, because Casey's not going to be caring for your mom, right? It's when Casey's going to eventually leave and go back to her home, it's what happens in the wee hours of the evenings, what happens on the weekends, what goes on in that building. And so don't fall prey to the strongest pitch. But Drew, let's get into this one, because here's another one that really should ring true with senior placement agents and franchisees out there, is that 60%, and I thought this would be a little higher too, but 60% of senior living website visits come from mobile users, right? I actually thought that'd probably be in the 80s. I don't know, but they say 60s, but let's say it is only 60%. That's still more than half of people that are looking on their phone. And we can still look on our phone for TSL, right?
100%. Yeah. Yeah. We've got the site mobile optimized for tablet, but definitely for phone, because that's where people are nowadays. And I think I tend to picture a family who's, their bedside maybe with mom or dad at the SNF, and then they have a discharge planning meeting, and the social worker is like, hey, mom or dad needs help with the ADLs, and we need to find some kind of care plan for them for discharge. And so you're there, all you've got is your phone, your laptop or computer's back at the house, who knows where, maybe you're even flying in from out of state. So it has to work on mobile. And so that's why we kind of designed it that way.
Yeah, because I got on there. Many listings look great on desktop, but break on mobile, which is true. Families may miss key information even when they're looking on the desktop. And this is where TSL is so powerful. If you're looking for pricing, TSL has the pricing. If you're looking for care levels, TSL has care levels, reviews, pictures, videos, ability to contact the community. The list goes on and on of the power behind TSL. And that's why it's receiving so much attention nowadays and interest of people that are in the industry, because it's not only going to revolutionize the industry moving forward, it currently is revolutionizing the industry. Isn't that right, Drew?
100%. And you talk about the information overload problem. I always think about layering on top of that the grief and maybe the shock of being confronted now with this major life decision that was probably unexpected for a lot of people. And then trying to process all this information coming at you when you're in that state, it's very overwhelming. So the more we can do to make the information just very clear, succinct, easy to use, the better off families will be.
Absolutely. Let's get into the last one, you guys. And this may be a shock as well. Even the low percentage, because this is a big range I'm getting ready to give you because it's hard to pinpoint exactly. But even if it's the lowest number of this one I'm getting ready to give you is staggering. But it says 30 to 60% of families move their loved one at least once within the first year. 3 out of 10 or up to 6 out of 10 families, for one reason or another, decide to move their loved one from the original location to another location. Now, some of that could be acuity driven, right? It could be care needs, could be mom's in assisted living. We really didn't foresee her have such a major cognitive decline, needing memory care. But even that, I mean, that is not really included in this equation, I don't think. And a lot of your assisted living communities have a memory care unit on the premises. So this is I think a lot of this percentage is a family saying, I'm dissatisfied with the care. I'm dissatisfied maybe with the price increase. I'm dissatisfied with the leadership change. They're making their voices be heard. However, with seniors, it's never a good thing to move them multiple times. I know I'm 56. I'm not a senior yet, Drew, even though my wife and I go to this certain breakfast place downtown Clovis. They got on there 55 and older, get a discount. I'm like, I'm not getting a discount. So I'm getting closer and closer, but it's it's mind blowing, this percentage. I mean, again, just go with the lowest number, 30%, 3 out of 10 move within the first year. And they're letting their voices be heard by their feet doing the action. They're walking out saying, no longer am I want to be here. That's why it's important, you guys, to have a really good senior placement agent. That's why it's so vital for you to have crucial information from TSL, in terms of before you even make that initial move, you are verifying, checking all the boxes as, is this the right location for mom? And that's what TSL does. And it will help minimize families doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, because like you said, the moves are not good for seniors. And so the more you can do to find the right fit from the very beginning, minimize that possibility, the better off your loved one is going to be.
Yeah. I mean, families often choose a community that looks right, but isn't equipped for their loved one's actual needs.
Yeah.
And I see this a lot, man. I see this where, they're looking more to the aesthetics. They're looking more to the appearance, just the way it looks, right? And they're not diving deep into it. And the assumption is if it looks good on the outside, it must be good. I mean, if it looks good on the outside, it must be good on the inside, right? If it looks good on the outside, it must be great on the inside. You can't even do that with people. Yeah. I mean, fortunately, my wife looks good on the outside and she looks good on the inside. But we've all met plenty of people that look good on the outside and they're not so good on the inside. And that's what you're really doing in the senior living game with your loved one going into a senior living community. You want to identify not only what looks good on the outside, but man, what is going on internally? And it's so difficult. I'm telling you, you're not going to get the answers that you may want from the questions that you may ask from these communities. And I don't blame them. Again, they're trying to put their best foot forward. They're not going to tell you all the flaws, kind of like a dating thing, right? When you go on the first date with somebody, I'm happily married, you guys, so back off a little bit. But, if you go on your first date, you're not sharing all your flaws. You're not going, you know what, man, I really got this bad habit of doing this. And I really, you're probably not going to appreciate this, but I do that. Whatever it may be. No, everybody puts their best foot forward. When they meet, they're like, oh my gosh, I got to look just right. And then when you're married 25 years, you walk around with a t-shirt and flip-flops and don't really care what you look like, right? No, just kidding. You shouldn't do that. But that's what happens in these communities, right, Drew?
Oh man, I've met so many, especially care homes, where if you were to just drive by the house and look at the kind of curb appeal
Mm-hmm.
of the house, you go, this is no, this is not good. But the people inside and the quality of the care was like, it was the best anywhere. I mean, I think of one homeowner, this was down in SoCal. He won all of these awards, like for, top caregiver in Southern California. But you wouldn't be able to tell from the house. It looked like a very normal house in a normal neighborhood. And but it's what's inside that counts when it comes to care. And that's why that kind of information you can only get from a senior placement agent, someone with local knowledge to see what's inside. And that's why senior placement agents are such a key part of Tour Senior Living, because they know things that you can't find on a website.
Yeah. I mean, you guys want to end this video with this. I mean, Tour Senior Living, if you haven't seen it, you can go to tourseniorliving.org, right, Drew? And they can actually look at the partners that we have right now. They can look at some communities, different things like that. Each senior placement agent has their own little link that we can utilize to make it more specific to the area. But there's my ugly mug over there. I wouldn't call that guy at all. I'd be calling the community. That's what I'd be doing. But you can send a message or call the senior placement agent of your choice of that area, not really of your choice, but whoever is the designated senior placement agent of that territory. Or you can call the community right away, and you get all the information. This really blows away information on Google, national company sites. So we would encourage you to do that. If you're a senior placement agent, franchisee, and you really want to expand your business, you want to grow your business beyond where you are right now. Maybe you're at the 5 move-in per month category. You're having a $250,000 business. You're satisfied. Maybe that's all you want to do. But if you really want to up your game and get to 500,000, get beyond, I would encourage you to click the link down below, schedule a consultation call with myself. I don't have a sales team that does that. We have a team, but I take all the sales calls because I want to be the one answering your questions. I want to be the one that spends time with you. Now, I'm not going to spend all day with you now, Drew, right? I'm going to spend about 30 minutes. So don't come with your questions. Be prepared, but be excited because of what TSL will provide for you in your business. And if you're looking for senior living because your loved one is either in dire need of assisted living today or maybe in the near future, click on the territory, the state and the city that you can identify a TSL partner. So we really love and appreciate you guys today. Thank you so much for spending time with us. And until next time, God bless.